Hi, this is my first how to create an LED, what I think is quite a pretty light. First you need a jar, which I bought from the $2 shop. I've drilled a hole in it, not very successfully. As you can see, it's cracked over here. But I glued some rubber onto the bottom of it, just to give it a bit more protection. And I stuck some mirror in the bottom, which is just an acrylic mirror I bought at a $2 shop. Only worth about $3 or something. LED lighting strip, which is a 50-50 waterproof light, which I quite like, they're very bright. A power supply, which is a 12 volt 2 amp, if you can see that. Some wire, just normal old speaker wire. Soldering iron, solder, wire strippers, little piece of tube. You could use anything, a rigid cardboard tube or a bit of dowel or whatever. I picked this because of the fit that it gives in there. It gives you enough room to sprinkle all the pretty beads in. So we'll start. Okay, to begin with our LED strip, you can see the plus, which is the positive and negative side. With LED strips, if you noticed here where my thumb is, you can actually cut this so it's every 50 mil approximately, wherever you see these little copper dots. So the waterproofing is the first thing we've got to get rid of, because you can't solder through that. So you just take a knife then we have a surface that we can solder to now. So we put the strip down on the bench, get something to weigh it down. You can see the copper dots are now silver as they've solder on them, which should be enough for a wire. Just get some wire. Strip the plastic off the outside. Just a little bit, like that. Twist it up. Now I use this little gadget just because it's easier for me, because I shake too much. They have solder on them. So now we've just got to attach our wire to our strip. Hopefully that's a better angle for you. But you simply place the wire simply here. And the strip is on heat. That's one soldered joint. That's two. Now we've just got to test it to make sure you've got a good joint. Cut and strip the wire. Where are you? There. We get our power supply right over here. Yeah, dealing with 240 volts, but this transformer turns it back into 12 volt DC, which is quite safe to play with. It's the wrong way around. And there we have light. So, I know our solder connection's good. Got a little bit of heat shrink, which is just a plastic. Don't know what it's made out of. But you can slip it over the wire till we get to a joint, and it's just to protect the joint. So we'll slip it over like that. A bit of heat. So it makes a nice protective joint. Okay, now we get our piece of tube, which is just a bit of plumbing pipe, I think. We've got to make sure it's the right height to go into the jar. That's hitting the top, so I want to take a little bit off. So I'll just grind a bit. Give me a minute. Okay, now we have our jar with our hole drilled in it, ugly hole. We're going to feed our wire through our ugly hole. And you see I've left a fair bit of wire to play with, just so it's not too short. And all I use is a bit of Well, while we're waiting for that to dry, I'll show you another trick with this little switch. One end of it, this end says LED. This one says 12-24 volts. So you want to make sure you put the one that says LED to the light, which is our jar. So when I soldered those joints together, you can see there's a black stripe on that wire, none on that one. The black stripe indicates negative. So we've got to the black stripe of this one, make sure we've got LED side. We'll just twist this together to make sure everything works. When you connect the power, you've got to make sure that these two don't touch. You can just use a little bit of tape. Simply to keep them apart. So once you've got the plastic in between them, you can just stick them together like that. On this end, just for ease of operation, I'm going to use just this little once again, these terminals are marked. I don't know whether you can see that. There's a positive and negative. So now we've got that done, we just get our 12-volt power supply, plug her in, and we have, now there are different functions on this. Bright, dims, and go back to our brightest. Then you've got mode, which you make it flash, strobe like that, which is probably a bit harsh on the eyes, blink, low strobe, or just on. You got on off, which no, not that one. So if we go into mode like that one, you can change the speed, which I think is a very funky part of these little controllers, because bought on eBay this controller is about $1. That I quite like. But now we know that everything works, we can solder the joints together and we're ready to go. Okay, you can just check your soldering iron's hot enough. Just touching. See that solder's melting quite easily. So once again, just hold it on the wire to heat it up. Harder. Yes, I've started melting the wire there, but that'll do. Solder dries, sets quite quickly, cools down quite quickly. So you just snip off the end because you don't need all of that. And we just bend them opposite directions just to stop them touching. Tape around. We just connect the power again just to make sure we're all good. Transformer. And we have light, so that's good. So that joint's good. So now we just with a heat shrink. And there we go. Beautiful joint. Next thing we can do with our power supply, because they normally come, or they do come with this plug, which is handy for some instances, but we're not going to need it here. So we make sure it's unplugged and cut the wire off. I leave a bit here because I like to reuse them for whatever. Strip it back and we'll find black and red again, which is your positive negative. Go into our little connector. And we get a bit more of our heat shrink wherever that went. It's a really messy worker, so here we go, heat shrink. Slip that just over there. Join our black and red wires. Simply plug it in again and we have lights. For what it is, you can use this wire. I've only made it this long, but you can make it as long as you like, so that if your power point where you want to plug this in is, say, a few metres away, you can put an extra few metres of this wire in, and yeah, that way you don't need an extension cord. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back now. Now the glue's nice and dry, this is good and solid. Yes, worked it out, you've just got to hold the button for a few seconds. But anyway, that's the end result. I quite like that effect where it dims out. But for a relatively small amount of money, probably, I don't know, $20, I've created that. Be quite effective. Even as a nightlight in a kid's room or something. And that is how to build a fancy looking LED light jar. Thank you. See ya.